Hello to all my fellow glorious Gaians. Thank you for joining me, Amber, on my channel, Guidance Through Gaia, where I do tarot pick-a-card readings. If this is your first time here, welcome. I hope that I'm able to offer you something that is enjoyable or useful to you. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming in and allowing me to read your energy again. I want to extend a large apology. I did not anticipate taking such a long hiatus. I didn't really anticipate taking a hiatus at all. But one, I haven't been a good girl and taking my medication. And the Wellbutrin really helps give me energy to do things. So remember, folks, if you need meds, take them. Find a system that helps you remember and be motivated to do so. Secondly, I don't know if I've previously mentioned this, but I am going to Scotland in November. So, oh my God, which is next month. Holy shit. So I have been picking up extra shifts at work, which has in turn left me really physically and mentally exhausted. But I was excited to see that we have a lot of new subscribers. So thank you in my absence. I'm glad that I was able to offer something to you. So today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be looking at what do they really want? And we are going to be breaking down with these cards who they are. So that'll give you a good idea about if this is the right pile for you. We are going to be looking at what their true desires with you are, what their intentions are, because those two can conflict. And then we'll also be looking at messages from the universe, kind of the universe's insight into what this connection is, or advice to you for this connection. So we've got 3 piles here, and of course you're allowed to choose as many as you want, unless it's more than 3, because then I don't know where you're pulling that one out of. But for pile number 1, we have this beautiful card. For pile number 2, we have this beautiful card. And for pile number 3, we have this beautiful card. So go ahead, take as much or as little time as you need, and I'll meet you at your pile. Bye. Hello, group number 1. You chose this image for your pile. So this is going to be your answer to what is it that they truly want. We have 3 cards here representing, ideally, your person. Now, if this represents more so of you, this could still be an important pile for you to look at, because this might reveal some of your intentions. Sometimes we're not always aware of what's going on in our head and our heart. Otherwise, if this doesn't seem to match either you or your person, it could be that there's still just like a seed of a message in there for you. So sometimes I know that there are times when I'm like, man, this doesn't seem like it's fitting really well, but I still listen, and then there's like a little piece of information in there that stands out to me as beneficial. But of course, it's up to you if you want to continue with this or not, but we're going to get right into it. So this card here represents the number 21, the seeker. Affirmation: I seek new friends and experiences to expand my awareness. We also have card 66 with the seed. I'm just going to set these out and then we'll talk about them in a broader perspective. And then number 19, the eucalyptus tree, love revealed. So any of those numbers could be significant to you: 21, 66, or 19. Broken down, 21 would be 3, 66 would be 12, which would be 3, and then 19 would be 10. Or 1. So your person seems to be somebody who is very, I would say, social. You know, we have all of these little different cherubs right here, and it talks about being the seeker. This is somebody who probably fits in with a lot of different social groups and somebody who finds it very easy to make friends. They are also probably somebody who is constantly expanding their awareness and their understanding. So they may be somebody who kind of dips their toes into a lot of different areas in life. They may not have a specialty in one particular category, but they may kind of know a lot about, like, know a little bit about everything. This could also indicate that maybe this person kind of has a difficult time making commitments in their everyday life. Like maybe they go from job to job, or maybe they change their major in school a lot, or they get involved in a lot of different activities because so many things capture their interest, that it can be difficult for them to focus. This card does specifically talk about these cherubs being siblings, and that the younger cherubs are elevating the older cherub so that he can fly away first. And then he recognizes that his younger brothers are also capable of flying, so he pulls them along. This indicates somebody who I think is very supportive of others, somebody who encourages people to reach for their highest potential. I think sometimes even if the other person is resistant, like my friends really became my friends because they kind of integrated themselves into my life. Like my two greatest friends I've known since high school, and I probably would not have become as close with them if they wouldn't have been insistent on getting to know me. And then they would make me go out and do things and meet people, and it was for the betterment of myself, but at the time I was kind of a little begrudging about it. It does talk about also that this younger cherub is a little bit hesitant to leave home. It's a little bit nervous about its expansion, but understanding that if it doesn't do so, then it's going to be stuck in a cycle of life instead of growing. And as we can see, like this older cherub is reaching for this butterfly, which often represents transformation. I like with these little sparrows here, how they are all like around this ribbon, and they're creating this bow. So it's almost like this person sees relationships and unification as a gift. I would also say that there's a lot of Taurian energy here. So Venetian. So that could represent Taurus or Libra because they're both ruled by Venus. Taurus and Libra, and ruled by Venus, they like the pleasurable things in life. They really enjoy things that make them feel good. I would also say that there's a lot of Sagittarius energy here because Sagittarius is all about the expansion of knowledge and experiences. And then we have the seed here, which could represent potentially and I would say Cancerian energy also might be significant because I feel like Cancers are very, they're very nurturing, loving people, who are kind of like the mom and dad of the group. The seed here could represent a lot of earth energy. Now with the seed, of course, I think that embellishes further upon the fact that this person really does like to grow, but this could also represent things in their life that have caused discomfort and irritations that have then allowed that growth within them. Because if you look, this is a pearl here. Pearls are formed because a grain of sand gets into an oyster, and the oyster, in order to remove that sense of irritation and discomfort, encases it. And like, I don't know, what is it? Is it like its own little silk or whatever? I'm not entirely sure what what it is. But I think that lends a description of this person that they can turn something that they feel is unfavorable and uncomfortable, and they can turn it into something beautiful. This could be a very positive gift. This could also indicate that maybe they have a tendency to ignore the more negative feelings. They may try to put a positive spin on everything, which thereby means that they aren't necessarily processing and coping. I just saw 7-7 with negative experiences or feelings. We also have the eucalyptus tree, which is love revealed. And it says, the arms of love draw closer to you, and ambition you love grows into what is visible and tangible. So we have here an ambition, which I think really ties in very well with the seed and with the seeker. This person is very driven. They have ideas of what it is that they want, and then they actively go for it. Eucalyptus, according to Indigenous Australian beliefs, represents like cleansing. Apparently it has a similar property to sage, where when burned, it kind of cleans the negative energy around and clears the space. It also represents the connection between the underworld, earth, and heaven. And so to me, that further confirms that this person is a very deep person, very connected, very well-rounded. They have an interest in all facets of life. So we could see Scorpio energy there. This is part of the heaven card, so that could represent a lot of air energy, Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. And it's interesting, so we have a little koala here, which I did not look up the meaning of the koala. I will say this, because this is this is such a sad fact. This is one of the facts that I gave on my last date that I went on. Why don't I have a significant other? Because I do shit like this. But apparently in Australia, there are populations of koalas where like 99% of them have chlamydia, and I guess it's really bad. Like, it's causing them to get very, very sick and populations to die off. So, if you're in Australia, don't hold a koala without some protective gear. It passes through their urine. But Love Revealed is an interesting card, because what this states is that this person may not be someone who is necessarily looking for love, but it may just kind of fall in their lap sometimes. They may be prone to falling in love very easily, or they may be a point in their life where, especially in regards to this connection, potentially we'll see, they were just kind of on their journey and then found unexpected feelings to develop. Whoa, so that is a lot. This seems like a very fun, very caring person who may have difficulty with attention spans and processing difficult emotions sometimes. But overall, this person seems very, very kind and genuine. I like this person. So we are going to see what it is that they truly want with you in this connection. Now, I am a person on the internet, okay? I do not intimately know you or your person or your circumstance, and this is a general reading. So trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, then toss it out the window, I'm just here to kind of help you understand yourself and your circumstance better, but I'm not here to tell you, I'm not here to rock the boat. Rock the boat, rock the boat. I literally, there was this guy on Instagram that I found, and I got sucked into the rabbit hole of his account, and he has a couple of skits where he was like, the friend that has a song for every trigger word, and I realized, holy shit, that's me. I didn't know other people did this. So, what is this person's true desire? Okay, so we have the Tower in reverse. So right off of the bat, it seems as if they're hesitant of change. They actively don't want to cause any disruption. We've got the Fool. Oh, okay. 2 major arcana right off the bat, which is very interesting to me. That signifies that they have very strong feelings and opinions about this connection with you. It's interesting that we have a card that represents not wanting things to change, but then we also have a card that is the very, like, representation. Its essence is change. It's a new beginning. And he's going from like this little tea party. He has a bouquet on his head. And he's stepping onto this pigeon or dove. This kind of reminds me a little bit of like Mad Hatter. But there's this sense of pleasantry and stability, and then trusting a process that may otherwise seem unreliable to carry you in the direction that you want. Okay, so what is group one's person's true desire regarding this connection? We have the 9 of Cups in reverse. Okay. And that to me signifies a desire to not be alone. You know, I mean, obviously this person is very social. And I think this is somebody who has enjoyed a lot of life on their own. And even though like they've had a lot of friends and a lot of cohorts, I don't think it's had the same substance as, you know, having a partner. Someone that they feel they can build on life with. And I think this is a point, I think they're in a point in their life where they really have an interest in obtaining that. So I want to see what this energy about the Tower in reverse is. And apparently there's a lot to be said. So we have the Star in reverse. We have the 6 of Wands in reverse. And this is all just for the Tower in reverse. Holy crap. We have Death. Maybe I should just, I don't know, should I put them down here? We have the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. And then we have the 7 of Swords upright. So I would say there is this very strong desire for them. They do want something like of a more intimate beginning with you. It feels like there's this interest in you and this potential that they see to have a very fruitful connection. I don't feel like they're necessarily thinking super long term. I think this is a person who does try to like stay in the moment, which isn't to say that like this couldn't be a long-term connection, but I feel like this is somebody who may not have, if you've known them for a long time, they may not have allowed their feelings for you to like flourish to the fullest extent. Maybe they could have suppressed those, but there is this bud of interest in you and this bud of desire to pursue something further. But there's a lot of fear here. We've got the Star in reverse, which can talk about a lack of hope, and the Star comes right after the Tower. And it's interesting with this one because this is I don't remember what they call it. There is a specific name for it. But it's a compass, and it's upside down. So this may feel like they would be concerned about this creating a setback, whether that would be a setback in their life or a setback in your connection with them. The Six of Wands in reverse. This is an interesting interpretation of Wands because it's in a boat where you would kind of expect that if the Six of Swords is usually represented in a boat. And in this boat, there's a woman and a man, and she's got a bird that's caged, but there are other birds that are sitting on these posts that are free. So is she about to free the bird? I don't know. But in reverse, so Six of Wands upright talks about like a sense of success and victory. But in reverse, there's a lack of victory. We've got, okay, that makes sense. We've got Death here, which represents change. But then the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, which talks about a lack of feeling secure in oneself. So, in that respect, the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles can often be very similar to each other. They represent like independent security and happiness. The Cups obviously represents more of an emotional aspect of that, but the Pentacles represents a materialistic or base feeling of that. So whereas I could interpret this as like feeling, oh, they're ready with the Nine of Cups in reverse, they're ready to, or they have an interest in bringing someone into their life and not be, so emotionally independent. With the way these cards are set out, I feel like this person, group number one, is a little concerned or a lot concerned about losing their worldly independence. And then with this Seven of Swords in reverse, that means, coming clean, and not necessarily just like coming clean as if they've been deceitful, but this energy is like, shit, if I'm in a connection, then I have to consider somebody else. Like, my life is not just on my terms anymore. Everything I do affects someone else. And so one thing I will say, even though that might affect the sense of contentment we're getting from this energy, because I know it can be disappointing when we hear that someone is kind of like worried about, there's this hindrance there of pursuing us. I think it is a really positive quality that they are recognizing that if they were to bring someone else into their life in this way, that they would be responsible for how they behaved and how that affected someone else, because there are a lot of people who don't take that into consideration. We're going to see what this Fool energy is about. What do we got for the Fool here? Hmm. 18. The Moon in reverse. Okay. And it's really interesting that this card has a couple with a dog. Like, look how cute that is. And they're in Paris, but it's in reverse. I feel like that does mean starting fresh with no illusions, moving forward, because this may be something that they've been hiding from you. They may have developed this, this feeling for you and this desire to unite in this way with you, but they've been kind of keeping it hidden. And so I feel like that is, starting fresh without any confusion, without any illusions. So what's this 9 of Cups in reverse about? We have the King of Cups here with the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. I don't think I've ever actually seen this King of Cups. Like, look how nonchalant he is. He's just so intense. And then without looking, pouring that liquid into that cup. So, I feel the 9 of Cups in reverse, as we talked about, was representing, not necessarily feeling content being unpartnered anymore. Feeling like they're at a point where they are ready to enter, like ready to bring someone in, particularly you. Then with this King of Cups, with the 8 of Coins, I can interpret that in 2 ways. First of all, this could represent them wanting to overcome wanting to be able to do this without having to put in any of the work of like their fears, because sometimes it's like we want something and we see the blockages that are there, we see what's hindering us, and it's like we want to just be able to jump over all of them without like conquering those issues and just be able to go for it and then expecting that everything is going to turn out perfectly. This could also represent wanting to enter into this connection with you, but not having to put in any of the base effort. Kind of like this idea of want their cake and have it too. Like, what is it? They want their cake. They want to eat their cake and have it too, or something. And I don't feel that this is like they want to take advantage of you. I think they're so accustomed to this lifestyle. Which I don't, I want to know, like, why is that even a concern? Like, why are they concerned about the conflict their lifestyle would create in having a connection with you? What is that about? Because this doesn't feel like they're dating multiple people. Okay, we've got the 8 of Wands here, which I think is Sagittarius energy. You can see someone's already awake and the other person is like snoozing. I think the concern there is that they do seem to live a very fast lifestyle. They're on the go all the time. They move faster than they can think. And I think they're afraid of having to slow down for you. So you may be somebody who is a little bit more grounded, who may like to plan things more before doing things, maybe because of finances or out of a certain sense of comfort. You may also be somebody who might be more of a homebody than this person. And I think they're concerned about how their natural drive for action and for adventure is really going to impact the connection with you. Like maybe they're afraid they wouldn't be home enough for you. Like I'm so busy doing all of these things and pile 1 likes to stay home more often. I would never be home. I'm never going to have enough time for them. Which I think, that's a legitimate concern. So what are their intentions? The 10 of Coins in reverse. So once again, we have I think all of our coins cards have been in reverse, which is something very noteworthy, which talks about a lack of stability. So if they are an earth sign, like when I was talking about with this seed, they're not very grounded. They might have something in their chart, like maybe their Mars sign is like an air or a fire sign. We have the Magician here. Sorry, I was looking at it because we've got air, earth, water, and fire. Oh, okay. The Magician. Ah. And the Devil in reverse. So, this is not exactly what you're going to want to hear. But it's not a bad thing. They don't have any intentions right now of offering anything concrete, anything stable. Okay? They don't have the resources for that. But with this Magician energy and the Devil in reverse, they do have an intention to work through their, maybe like their addictions or their pride, and try to become more well-rounded. Because with this Magician, the Magician is all about being able to manipulate all of the elements, about being able to transform. And as I said here, we have, fire, water, earth, and air. So it looks like this person, group number 1, realizes that they want something. Overall, they want to add a partner to their life, but they also realize they're not in a position that would really be beneficial to do so for them, because it would create a lot of stress, and it would also create potentially a lot of stress on the other person. So they are going to try to become a more well-rounded person. They're going to work on their addictions, they're going to work on their weaknesses, and become a person that's still true to themselves, but would be a better potential partner for another person. Oh, and then we have the 6 of coins. That is literally the first coins card we've gotten that's upright, and that signifies, I'm just going to leave that there, equal give and take. Someone who shares just as much as they receive. Okay, this person has such a genuine heart, group number 1. Like, oh, I love it. I don't know which one I want to do first. So I can't guarantee that the two of you will necessarily enter into a commitment with each other. We're going to get some words from Spirit, from the universe. But regardless, I will say this, you might enter into a connection with each other. If you do, it's going to take a while. Even though they have a lot of fast moving energy, they're having to work on slowing down, and that's going to be very difficult for somebody who has lived like their entire life like this, and whose core part of their personality is like this. They're having to learn compromise. But they do seem like a very genuine and wholesome person, and I think they're trying to be authentic to themselves, but also have your best interests at heart. I just saw 3113. So what does the universe want to say about this connection? What does the universe want to say about this connection? Patience with happiness, expansion, joy, playfulness, oneness, enjoying each other. But that was in reverse. That doesn't mean necessarily anything bad. I think what the universe is saying is, don't sit around waiting for this person. Like, if they're a part of your friend group or your atmosphere, like, you're going to be engaging with them, but don't hold out for this person. Don't put your life on hold for this person, Because first of all, they would not want you to do that. And if you weren't to wait for this person and then enter into a relationship with them, that's not going to be a compatible partnership. You know, they're holding back because they realize that the way they live their life is not beneficial to you for some reason. And so they are trying to work on themselves. It's imperative that you exhibit a sense of compromise as well, which means being true to yourself, which means going out. Like, if there are people you want to talk to them. If there are places you want to go to them. Don't sit there and put your life on hold wondering like, man, if I pursue this job, or if I go traveling, or if I start going out on dates, like, am I going to miss out on this person? Maybe. But there are 7 billion people in the world. You might need somebody else who is more compatible with you at this point. Or maybe not, you know. This person, though, would not want you to wait for them. That would make them feel, I think, very terrible and guilty. And in the end, it wouldn't work out between the two of you. You have to create your own sense of compromise as well. Whereas they're trying to slow down, you might need to work on speeding up a little bit or exploring a little bit more. What else does the universe want to say about this connection? Romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. That was in reverse. Now, that's not to say that your feelings aren't aren't valid, but there may not be an opportunity to explore them at this point. I know, pile number one, that I am not telling you what you want to hear. But I feel like the universe is really pushing for you to work on your own sense of independence. And to work on validating more what your needs are. Instead of trying to, I guess, fit into someone else's desires. Like, instead of trying to mold yourself into something that is compatible for somebody else, put your own needs first and be like, what do I need? You know, what do I expect out of a partner? And that can be difficult for some of us to do, me, but that's going to be what helps you to find and shape a genuinely healthy connection with someone. And then appointment. This is based off of Romeo and Juliet, which is not a good representation of a healthy relationship, but it's a beautiful play. So it says appointment. Engagement, marriage, proposal. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose, marriage, send me word tomorrow, act 2, scene 2. But it was in reverse. So at this point, the universe is saying there is no sense of commitment. Okay? And I think it's really important in this case to focus on what the energy is now instead of what the potential could be. Because at the end of the day, the potential is the future. And the future is never here. It's never in this moment. So we can sit here, and I've done this, like I say this coming from experience. We can sit here and project our desires onto the future, saying like, this is a possibility, this is hope. And that could always be our reality, because if it doesn't come, we can always push that further back into the future. Whereas if we're looking at what's occurring right now, we have to face the reality and adjust our actions accordingly. You know, it's easier to say like, well, they might come around in the future than it is to say, hey, nothing's happening right now. And so what should I do? So, okay. So I'm just getting a little bit of advice for you. 9 of Wands in reverse. And I'm going to say that is Spirit saying, don't pursue this right now. Three of Swords upright, which means allow your heart time to heal. So this may indicate, like, you know what, don't pursue another connection at this point, or whatever. Just, oh, and then Four of Swords upright, which means coming out of a period of rest. So I'm going to see how these cards are connected. Okay. How these cards are connected. Okay, so we have Strength in reverse with that. So basically, you know, the universe is saying don't pursue this connection romantically any further, because what that will do is it will create resistance to healing your heart. And then that resistance is going to make it difficult to focus, that you'll experience the sense of restlessness. You know, sometimes when we think, like, instead of focusing on what it is that's causing us pain, we might try to cover it up with something else, you know? So like going out and finding a rebound, or getting into partying and like drinking a lot, or whatever it is that we utilize as a method of coping that is unhealthy, instead of objectively looking at the situation and dealing with it. So group number 1, I hope that this was helpful for you. If this resonated with you, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you liked this video, even though it's a little bit sad and frustrating, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed but would like to join our family, do so by clicking that subscribe button and the notification bell to be alerted whenever I upload a new video, which I promise will be more than once every other month. And if you'd like a personal reading with me, you can find my contact information in the description box down below. Bye. Hey, group number 2, you chose this beautiful card. So this will be your reading on what their true desires are for this connection. So we have card number 18 with the Warrior. Affirmation: I can handle whatever life brings to me. And we're just going to lay them all out and then get to them. We have card number 68 with the Mirror. And then we have card number 17 with the Laurel Tree and Victory. So, one thing that I found interesting about this card, 18, the Warrior, was that it was the only one where it depicted an adult. So, of the 3 piles. So it seems to me that this person of yours is certainly in a mature mind frame. Whereas, especially, I haven't done pile 3, but pile 1 was, you know, more youthful in their behaviors and in their mentality. This person seems to be more mature. There's so much going on in this picture. One thing I will say is that between this card and then the Mirror, we have depictions of the moon. So this person could be a water sign. The moon typically represents water energy. We think about how the moon influences the tides of the ocean. It can also represent Cancerian energy, because Cancer is ruled by the moon. There's something really interesting. I'm reading this book called The Great Goddess, and so far it's amazing. A little convoluted, so sometimes even for someone who's a pretty proficient reader like myself, I'm finding it at times a little bit difficult to to understand everything the author is saying, but the gist of it is something that I'm able to discern. Apparently, in ancient times, the moon actually represented masculine energy and the sun represented feminine energy. But when spirituality and religions became patriarchal and societies became patriarchal, that's when there was a shift. We can see the remnants of the original association, though, in certain languages, like I think in Germanic languages, where the gender article is masculine for the moon and feminine for the sun. Now, for those of us who were born in America and haven't taken, well, you know, I say this not having been in like school, like through K through 12 for God, like 17 years, 16. And having grown up in the Midwest. So I can't attest, I suppose, for younger generations, or schools that are located in the South where maybe language curriculums have changed. But back in my day, you know, we didn't really take a language course until we were in high school. And I took German, and it was the most foreign thing to me. I could not understand that the majority of languages outside of English utilize like gender articles for their nouns. Like, it still blows my mind, and it's so frustrating. But hello, not everything does it like the U. like well, I guess English isn't even strictly American, so So with representations of the moon, this person may be very connected to their emotions, which I think could cause some issues with their sense of practicality, because they're in this very worried mind frame. You know, we're looking at this person, they have this castle behind them, which to me could represent like a household or an institution, or simply a sense of adulthood or responsibility. And then they're wearing like this crown. So to them, in whatever way it may be manifested, they seem to be somebody who has a lot of responsibility. Maybe it's responsibility to their children or their family. Maybe this is a responsibility to career. Maybe a responsibility to their studies. But they seem to have some sort of position of power, and it is creating a conflict within them. If you notice, like this woman doesn't look very excited, and she has this box. Now in the book, it talks about the box being a representation of like all her worries and fears. To me, I kind of look at it as like Pandora's box, you know, trying to contain the chaos, but in containing the chaos, not being able to process what is causing the chaos or how the chaos could affect themselves or someone else. They may be also restraining their own desires for what they perceive as the betterment of something. These blossoms down here, they look like, I don't know, they kind of remind me of carnations, but I'm not very well versed in flowers. In the book, these are representing solutions to the warrior's problems, but the note is that the warrior isn't even looking and may not notice these flowers and could actually trip over them. So this is a person who likely has solutions directly in front of them that they are ignoring intentionally, may not see, or don't understand the legitimacy of them. This moon here is actually opal. And opal can talk about like balance. Apparently in ancient times, opal was thought to contain properties of all of the stones as well. and can represent harmony. Now we've got the Mirror here. The Mirror, I think, one, could signify somebody who is also mirroring you. So it could be somebody that you may not be aware of, but is sharing like similar concerns and fears or desires, or maybe even just struggles in their everyday life. However, the Mirror can also talk about somebody who is putting on a mask. This person could be performative in the sense that they are presenting themselves in a way in which they think others want to or need to see them. They may struggle with really accepting or understanding their authentic selves. I feel like there was something in the book about this. Let's see. It is a construct and one that may drive a shard between you and your true self. Oh, yes, it talks about comparisons a lot. You know, with this crown over here and this palace, I do feel that this person feels like they have to measure up to something or someone, or that they have to be successful in a way to appease others, that maybe they do feel a competitive energy with someone else, but more so I think that they've really placed this this responsibility within themselves and onto themselves that really isn't necessary, that either is unrealistic or that is something that if other people were aware of, they would be like, no, that's not at all what we want from you or what we expect of you. Then we have the laurel tree. Oh, some numbers. I forgot to look at the numbers. So 18 could be significant. 68 or 17. So those could be significant in and of themselves. We also have the two numbers that are, God, what's it called? Consecutive. So you have 17, 18. You might be seeing consecutive numbers. Otherwise, it breaks down to 9, 5, and 8. So, give me just a second. All right, things have kind of calmed down a little bit. So we have the laurel tree with victory, and the laurel tree states there is no crowning glory of achievement without first being victorious over inner conflict. And I think that is just such beautiful confirmation with this. You know, this person could struggle to feel victorious in external circumstances. You know, there's always something more that can be achieved, always a greater title. But if they can't find the inner peace and satisfaction, they'll never be able to achieve that victory. You know, true victory is being content with ourselves, knowing where it is that we need to improve, but also understanding where we are that is good enough, satisfactory, you know, which I know some people would kind of cringe at the thought of like, oh, I never want to be just good enough. But there is something to be said for having moments in life where we are content. You know, contentment can be a very healthy thing. So I think this definitely is something that this person is working on. They may be at a point in their life where they're beginning to realize that, hey, no matter what I do, what I achieve, like I will never be happy with myself unless I work through my own insecurities and conflicts. I think this is also somebody who just is very heavily focused on the concept of victory. They don't like to lose. Um, and they may not be like necessarily a sore loser in the respect of like if they aren't successful at something, just throwing their hands up. I get the sense that this is somebody who does look at failure as like a challenge to improve and to grow, but they may be experiencing a blockage in being able to do that in a certain aspect of their life right now, which could be causing some frustration. This sense of like, I've always been able to overcome something. I've always been able to figure out a different route. What is going on now? They could also have like Aquarius energy or Leo energy. Those are two very very driven signs that I just saw 222. I had to, turn off my phone for a second while I was letting them talk. So, the two very driven signs who may experience difficulties with like humility or accepting defeat. Now, the laurel tree talks about Apollo, who is considered the god of the sun. So I think it's very interesting that we have both representations of the moon and the sun. I was also in the book that I mentioned reading about how Apollo never started like as the god of the sun. He was kind of put into that position when there was the transition. Artemis was a huge thing where I think maybe she was originally a representation of sun or something like that. But in the laurel tree, it does talk about how he is the god of like prophecy. What else was there? Which means from the depths of the lion. And as the sun rules the laurel, this tree predicts that nothing on heaven or earth can prevent your good fortune. Apollo was the Greek god of light, youth, and manly beauty. So this is somebody who probably does care very much about their appearance. They may be very well kempt, clean clothes, smelling good. And I think it's interesting that says, nothing on heaven or earth can prevent your victory. So at the end of the day, if this person isn't experiencing victory in their life, it's a result of themselves. Otherwise, spiritually, like, they seem to have a lot of grace given to them. There are those of us who are extremely lucky in life and those of us who aren't. I think there's actually like scientific studies on why this shit happens, especially for those of us who are super clumsy. Like, why are some people really clumsy and others are extremely graceful? But it seems as if, the universe has kind of tried to make way for this person, but right now they're their own blockage. So, we are going to get into what is their true desire for this connection. I kind of feel like this is somebody who's going through a rough time. There may be a lot of Plutonian energy that they're experiencing. Maybe they're going through like their Saturn return. I like that I know what these things mean now. Hey guys, it's Growth. So what does Group 2's person truly want for this connection? Oh my God. We've got the Knight of Cups, okay. And the Five of Cups. So they definitely want to come forward. They may feel as if they've been shut out there may be no communication between the two of you, or maybe they ghosted you, or maybe you blocked them, or this could be representing like, so they may want to come forward and break through that barrier because of this sense of loss. Otherwise, it could also represent this feeling of kind of wanting to push other people out of the side, like to the side, if they feel that maybe you have other suitors who you could be entertaining. They may want to come forward and kind of like move those guys along, those guys and gals. What do they truly want for this connection? Oh, the Six of Wands, success, victory. This person is a very competitive person. Wow. And they just like, they really want to come in and they want to sweep you off your feet, group number 2. Like, this is a no holds barred kind of energy. This is somebody who definitely sees potential with you, and somebody who wants to come forward and really make an impression and make an offer. All I can see when I look at this song now, I can't even talk right now. When I look at this card, the only song I can think of is, I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our heart is the only sound. And you notice like how the steed in this card is like a gold statue, and this person isn't on it, but it's like they're making this giant proclamation. And then this Six of Wands card, this person really is romantic. Like, I think this is somebody who would come to you and dressed to the nines, somebody who would want to take you out on a very romantic date, whether that was a restaurant or, like on a boating trip, or, I don't know, to a theater performance. This is somebody who is a little extra. They're a little flamboyant. They're a little bougie, but they definitely want to make a statement, and they want to have that romantic connection with you, and they want to make it deeper. So that's beautiful, group number 2. Like, this person would woo you. Like, they're not going to come up to you. They're not a scrub, They're not going to text you and be like, what you doing? Like, if they were to text you, they would probably text you a beautiful poem or a passage from a book, or maybe they would like send you a YouTube video of a beautiful like musical composition. I'm feeling compelled. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna get this book because I've been talking about it so much. So this is the book, Reverence of the Divine Feminine from the Paleolithic to the Present, the Great Goddess, by Jean Marcalla, author of Women of the Celts. And there's this one passage in here. I'm like, someone better write to me like this. Where is it? No, this wasn't it. Okay, give me a second. All right, guys, I found this. It says, being only a mortal man, your celestial beauty, the violent lightning of your divine face made me taste death and ruin, in order to come to immortality anew. Your divine fire burned my mortal essence. Your celestial being fell in love with me and ravished me to the skies. Your soul was divine, and mine was also. Goddess, you raised me to the ranks of the other gods. My mouth dared to touch the crimson mouth to gather in, without dying, its immortal beauty. I have lived on nectar. I have sucked ambrosia, savoring what is most sweet of the divine. And then it says stanzas 12. So this was apparently by a Baroque poet of the 16th century, Agrippa of, I'm going to totally butcher this, Albugne. I don't know. So like, that's the level of intensity that this person would totally come forward to you with. Now, what are their intentions? Because this is what they want to do. What are they going to do right now? Well, like, what are they planning on doing? What do they want to do? The Six of Cups in reverse. So, first of all, there's a lot of Cups energy here. So they are feeling very emotional towards you. But with the Six of Cups in reverse, that makes me feel as if they're going to hold back on that expression. So what are their intentions? Ooh, the Three of Pentacles in reverse. So that seems to me that they still plan to kind of keep to themselves. This very likely is a connection where there is minimal to no interaction between the two of you. And at this point, I feel like that's the way they kind of intend for it to be. We've got 21 with the World up right now. It's very interesting that this is the only major arcana card we have. In the last group, a lot of major arcana cards popped out. So we'll see, because the World talks about completing a cycle. And it's so, like, this is kind of cute because it's a couple who are holding the world up for this kid, you know? Like, they are supporting the foundation for this small child who still has yet to grow and mature and experience life. And like, he's none the wiser, really. He's got this cute little heart that he's holding on to. Now we have the Seven of Swords in reverse. We have the Wheel of Fortune. We have the Lovers. And we have the Tower in reverse. That's where we've got a shit ton of major arcana cards. So, group 2, it does appear that your person doesn't intend to make any moves right now, okay? They are waiting to complete a cycle. But they seem to have a certain level of confidence that what is meant to be will be. We've got the Seven of Swords in reverse, which can talk about authenticity, moving in a way that allows for like justice, you know, what is authentic and true. We've got the Wheel of Fortune, which talks about the cycles of life, you know, and the table's kind of turning. So to me, that signifies like, hey, if I move in a way that's authentic to myself, if I continue my journey, then my luck's going to change, you know. And the Lovers, which we can take very literally here, being the lovers, being two people who have a deep connection and want to be partnered with each other in a way. That can also talk about destiny, right? And then the Tower in reverse. So what that signifies to me is this belief that destiny cannot be changed. You know, if this is what is right for me, then this is going to happen. So they are very focused on some aspect of themselves and some aspect of their life, and they don't have any intention of changing course from that, but they do have confidence that if this connection is something that is kind of predestined or in alignment with them, that eventually there will be something, some level of, what's it called? It's success, but it was a little bit different than that. Progress. There we go. But there will be some level of progress that is seen. We do have the Five of Swords here, which can represent combative energy. And with the swords being the element of air, that makes me think of like intellectual combat. And then we have a bunch of swans here. Swans tend to represent true love and soulmates. And so right now I feel like the desire that this person has for love and for you is something that they're kind of mentally combating right now because they feel that their priorities have to be elsewhere. So now we're going to look at what the universe has to say about this connection. Whoa. I think my incense burned out my eyes. It was really long, and then like there was nothing underneath it. No ember. Okay. So one thing I will say is, because we have a lot of minor arcana here, even though I think that there is a certain level of desire they have for you and a certain level of connection that they feel with you, it's not their primary focus. With the major arcana being all down here, though, they do have a sense of, you know, something will come to them eventually. And hopefully it's you, hopefully it's this connection. But I think the beautiful thing about that, even though it's not like the most encouraging message sometimes to hear that we've just gone through, is that they're not in a place where they're like, oh, I'm just not meant for love. Nobody could ever love me. They're not in that mind frame. They're just in this mind frame of like, I can't focus on that right now. Like, I really want it, but my life isn't ready for it. I have other priorities to engage in. And I think, they're missing where love and life can align, as we see with these flowers at their feet. Like, there is a way in which these two things can coexist, but that's going to have to be for them to discover, I think that's part of their journey, is learning how to be reasonable in their expectations of themselves, and then allow things into their life. So ascending, transcending obstacles, learning, expansion, new phase, preparing for union, but it was in reverse. So at this point, the connection is at a standstill. There is no movement. There is likely not to be any movement in the near future. But of course, energy is always changing, and this is what is going on right now. As I mentioned with the last pile, You know yourself and your situation best. I'm just a person on the internet, and this is a general reading. So take what feels right to you and leave the rest. Passion, allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. It's in reverse. I do think that, because we have all of these cards here, that there is a level of passion between the two of you. Certainly what you feel for them and what they feel for you. But I think they are intentionally pulling away from the feeling of passion because they are trying to be in a more practical mind frame. And I think it might be advisable for you not to focus on the passion of this connection, because it could be detracting from maybe areas of life where you do need to be more practical. So I feel like this pile, along with the last pile, really epitomizes the balance that the both of you need to face. So like with the first pile, it was more about how their person needed to kind of learn how to slow down, but they needed to learn how to speed up. This person probably needs to learn how to be more heart-centered instead of mind-centered, and you may need to work more on being mind-centered as opposed to being heart-centered. And then I'm pulling from the Romeo and Juliet deck, which I know I will die on this hill. Like, Romeo and Juliet should not be a relationship to emulate yours from, but it is a beautiful story with some very good lessons. So what else does the universe have to say about this connection? Rings, and it says, symbol of love, union, soul connection. How well my comfort is revived by this. Act 3, Scene 1. But it was in reverse. So this is not a connection that is leading to commitment right now. I'm sorry, y'all. I wish I could say differently. But it's kind of in a limbo. Doesn't mean that it couldn't result in commitment. Whatever commitment looks like for you, but at this point in time, that is not the path that it is on. Okay, so we're just going to get some advice to you from the universe, because I know this is not like the nicest energy to be looking at. 7. Oh, the Chariot. I like how those are oxen. Aww. Base your movements off of where you want your life to go. Okay, you can't control this other person. You can't control anybody else. And I'll be honest, it's part of the reason why I'm going to Scotland, because the guy that I really like, okay, that I went on like these amazing dates with, got really, really busy. He's very career oriented. You know, and so I kind of sat around for a while and I was like, hey, you know, I really like this guy. I want to wait. But nothing was letting up. And at one point in time, I was like, what do you even want to do? You know, do you want to put this on hold and revisit the connection later? Or should I just are we going to scrap it? And I think what I had said is like, hey, if I never see you again, or hear from you, I just want you to know that, I really enjoyed getting to know you, and I think you're great, and I had a really good time. And that, he responded to that, and he was like, you know, I really hope that I get a moment to see you, even just a moment, because, I really hope that my schedule calms down even for a second, because I'd really like to see you. I don't know how long I'm going to have to work like this, though, and I would just hope that you live your life. And so after a month or so, I was like, fuck it. I could be waiting on someone for the rest of my life to come in and be a partner for me, but I don't want to be so complacent in other areas of my life that I put everything else on hold. Like, I love to travel. I want to see the world. I don't want to be on my deathbed and be like, oh, I wish I would have seen the world. So that's what I'm going to do now. I can't control him. I can't control anybody else, but I can control what I do with my life. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start traveling. Oh shit, I gotta hurry because there's only 5% of my battery left. We've got the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, which is funny because the 7, like, the Chariot on this card makes me think of the 7 of Pentacles. But that's in reverse, and that means, I think, take a little bit more time to play. You know, don't work so hard. You might be in a position where you feel like you have to do a lot of inner work or a lot of, like, work with relationships or work in your career, but the universe is saying, like, take a little bit more time to have fun and enjoy. And then the 3 of Swords with the Fool. Allow the disappointment of the situation to push you into new beginnings, and don't allow it to hold you back. You know, sometimes it's the pain that propels us forward, you know. So group number 2, I hope that this was useful for you. If you liked this video, regardless of, you know, the fact that it's not the happiest, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to join our family and haven't done so, please click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload a new video. And if you'd like a personal reading from yours truly, you can find my information in the description box down below. Bye! Hello, group number 3. If you chose this beautiful card, then this is your reading on what is their true desire. What do they really want? So we have 19, the Uniter, with the affirmation, I know love has come to unite me with my beloved. We have card number 2 with the Father. And then we have 2 cards for these trees. We have number 15 with the Rowan tree and attraction. We also have 37 with the elm tree and faith. So if we're looking at the numbers, we have 19, which breaks down to 10 or 1. We have 2. We have 15, which breaks into 6. And then we have 37, which breaks into 10 or 1 as well. So it's interesting that we have 2 numbers that can equal 10 and 1. Which I think represents this person has begun and completed many cycles. I think they also are somebody who understands that things come and go in life and that there is a lack of permanence. So they are very likely someone who can go with the flow, someone who isn't very linear, isn't strict. So they may be more of like a water sign. Numbers that may also be important might be like 10-10 or 11-11. We have the Father here with 2. So then like 1-2, you may see consecutive numbers. With this card being Cupid, the Uniter, I think this is somebody who does prioritize joyful and loving feelings. And they probably have a childlike quality to them. Somebody who might find the fun in everything or the beauty in everything. So this card talks about it talks about children specifically and why Cupid was chosen to represent this element of love when so many other gods are represented by mature beings. Now this card says that Cupid was chosen because children should be born out of love and not lust or necessity. And so this person may feel that they may be someone who is drawn to things that emotionally fulfill them. I just saw 3-3. And may, I don't know, reject things like that they wouldn't enjoy. So for instance, this may be a person who follows a career path that they find enjoyable or satisfying, that really speaks to them on emotional or spiritual level, and they aren't necessarily worried about the public perception of them. They're not necessarily worried about the title or the profit off of it. This is also somebody who is, I think, they don't maintain relationships out of the necessity of it. They may not be somebody who is necessarily blunt or harsh with their words if they don't like somebody. They could be, but moreover, I think that this person is likely to be somebody who just doesn't entertain those kinds of relationships. This is the person who will enter into a partnership because of genuine feelings of attraction and affection, but if that partnership becomes stale and it doesn't seem like there's a way to revive it, they're not going to stay in it. This is not the type of person who is going to stay in a commitment because of the children, for example. They feel like that really just promotes a toxic environment, and it's kind of like this laissez-faire, like life is too short mentality, to not do what you love. It does talk about the Cupid setting these hearts on fire as a way to unite them. So even though Cupid doesn't necessarily react off of lust, there is still that all-consuming sense of desire, like that excitement. That's what they're looking for in connections. And I think this person is also somebody who just really looks at things that bring people together, and they don't focus on the differences. Now, it's interesting that we do have the father archetype here for a couple of reasons. For one, the first two piles, the cards that we drew for them from this deck were like objects. We had the seed, and then I can't remember what the other one was. So that focused more on tools and that might have actually been it, which they might have been representing like the tools, things that we can use. However, this is an archetype called the father. So this represents to me that even though this person might be in like this childlike sense of mentality, energy, that they do have a really strong sense of self. Now, looking at this, card number 2 in the tarot represents the High Priestess. But the father archetype makes me think of the Emperor. And so this could be somebody who feels very much empowered within themselves. Like they have maybe a very strong connection to their intuition and to potentially spirituality if they are spiritual. But they're also somebody who is very practical. And we see that with this card. We've got kind of like this wintry aspect to this tree with this penny, this monetary quality. And then we also have this beautiful like spring or summer aspect to this tree with this celestial quality, which represent more of intuition and emotional connection and spirituality. The father archetype talks about somebody who is loyal and honest and fair, someone that we can learn from, someone who likes to instruct others and be a positive example, but also somebody who can be absent and who can be a failure and who can let us down, because so oftentimes, at least in American culture, I'm not sure about other cultures, we can experience absent fathers, whether that's we never knew our father or our father rejected us. My example is that my father, the older I got, the more I realized that he was like the antagonist of the family, and so our connection really suffered from that. He and my mom got divorced, and then he got remarried, and there were some issues that occurred after his remarriage that prompted me to basically disown him. And then 3 years after I did that, he ended his life. And so, I mean, there's this gap where there is no father figure. And I sometimes joke like, oh, I have daddy issues. Although there was I don't remember what I was reading or watching, but it was this sentiment of like, why do we criticize somebody for having daddy issues when we're not focusing on the person who created those issues? Like, there's the fallacy. This person could be a Gemini or a Pisces, where there's like that, or even a Libra, that sense of balance, that sense of duality. We see that even further with these trees here, because this deck with the trees is split into two categories. One is the heavenly trees, which we have with the rowan tree, and the other is the elm tree, which are, the other is the earth trees, which we have with the elm tree. So once again, this person does seem to be very grounded. They do seem to have a balance between their practical side and their fanciful side, if you will. The rowan tree symbolizes attraction, and the red berries symbolize like fire and passion. It says transformation and regeneration, encouragement and protection, quicken new things to be born. And so I feel like with this Cupid card here, with the Uniter, we definitely see that element of encouragement and protection. Also with the Father, quicken new things to be born. So this may be a person who I don't think necessarily strives to achieve things. Like, I do think that they have goals, and I do think that they have a drive, but I feel more so that they just kind of trust that what they want will be brought to them, or conversely, that they will be drawn to the things that they need. Which is why I feel that this person isn't necessarily somebody who focuses on like status or material wealth, because they just kind of have this mentality of like, if I can't achieve it, or if I don't have it, then I don't really need it. This is the person who, they may not be living the most wealthy lifestyle, but they're resourceful. I just saw 1111. So they may not have their own place, but they could very well be somebody who, I don't know, maybe they sleep in shelters, or maybe they have friends who help them out, neither of which is like a negative thing. I don't feel like they necessarily take advantage of anybody. I just feel like they don't need a lot to be content. Or somebody who, if they're struggling to find food, if they're like an artist, they may go and, like a musical artist, maybe they do some street performing, or maybe they are able to find a gig that will help provide some money so that they can acquire food, or maybe they're really good with their hands, and so like, for instance, maybe they've got a side gig where they do like fencing or roofing or something, and it's something that they're good at and that they actually enjoy. And I think this is somebody who knows how to connect with others and knows how to make their services desirable. So even if they're like, for instance, if they shovel snow, maybe they've got like 10 other people in the city, and maybe it's a small city, who do this work as well, but they know how to get the word out. They know how to network. They know how to socialize. They know how to market themselves. And even if this person is, pretty well to do, I feel like it's because they have the ability to network and they have the confidence in themselves, and it's because they're doing something that they actually enjoy, so they have no issues with putting their energies into it. And then we have the elm tree with faith, and it says, good seeds are sown, bringing the hope of success in the accomplishment of growth. And I think that's so beautiful to have faith with attraction, because that really shows me that there's this level of confidence that this person has, that they can achieve all that they need with the things that they want. There was something about the elm tree that was really interesting that I want to get back into. Okay, yeah, it talks about the elm is sacred to Saturn, which is the Roman god of agriculture, and who's also the Greek god Kronos. And so that to me talks about, like, this person can handle things for the long haul. They're not necessarily looking for immediate gratification. They're patient. They know that if they pass out their business card to this one person, even if they don't get a call, right away, 3 months down the road, they might hear from this person. So it's beneficial to get the word out there, even if you don't see an immediate payoff. They're also, like we said, very flexible. And so even if a circumstance isn't working for them at the time being, it's not something that's very disparaging to them. And then with the rowan tree, what you need will gravitate you in the same way that the rowan's red berries give it power to attract birds. So kind of like build it. If you build it, they will come. And it talks about maypoles are made from the rowan, so flirtations and romance are forecasting. So that makes me think of, like, maybe this person is a Taurus, which would make sense. Taurians really prefer things that are pleasurable to them. They don't want to do things that they don't want to do, and they can be very patient. But this person always kind of is in this sense of looking at the new life that is forming around them. This constant sense of spring and rebirth. Okay, so we're going to see what they want, what they truly want in this connection. I will say that all three piles, the people that have been described do seem like genuinely good people. So I'm very happy with that. Nobody seems sneaky or narcissistic or selfish. So let's see what they truly want from this connection. Ooh, 19. I'm having difficulty remembering what 19 is. Because the way that this is set up, I'm looking at the Disney Villains Tarot book. The way that this deck is designed, sometimes I don't always... is it the Hierophant? 18, 19. Oh, no, it is the Sun. Okay. I should have known that because of the lion and the sun here, but there were, I don't know, I could also see that, like, you got two people coming together, so I thought maybe it's the Hierophant, or maybe it's talking about the scales of balance with justice, but no, it's the Sun. Okay, so this could be Leo energy too. Leos very much prefer to do the things that make them feel good. They can have childlike qualities about them. Ooh, and we've got the Hermit in reverse. So if this is someone that you're not seeing a lot of, or that you don't know very well, they really want to come forward. And we've got the Queen of Wands. Ooh, this is kind of spicy, guys, but not in like a bad way. Not in like a they just want to hit it and quit it. But no, they definitely want to explore this connection. They want to take it deeper. Sorry, I was just saying spicy, and then I said the word deeper, so my 5-year-old came out. I don't really have a 5-year-old. I mean, like the inner 5-year-old. They want to have a good time. They really do. I'm not seeing anything that's necessarily emotional here. We don't have any cups cards, but I am seeing with this Sun energy and then the Queen of Wands, they want to have fun with you. You know, I feel like this is something that's pretty action oriented. Like maybe they want to go on an amusement park with you, or maybe they want to go on a road trip with you, or go dancing with you, or have a few drinks, and really like go out boating. You know, if you guys like to enjoy the rivers or the lakes, I know it's a big thing here in Minnesota. So they really want to spend quality time with you, get to know you better. I'm curious to see what this Queen of Wands energy is about. She looks so unbothered. So what's this Queen of Wands energy about? Okay. The Queen of Wands is represented by the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So at this point, there's not necessarily something serious that they want to invest in. But I think that's because they just want to feel the situation out. You know, they want to get a better sense of how things would flow between the two of you, the chemistry that the two of you could create together. So right now it's pretty lighthearted. Absolutely. So what are their intentions? What is group 3's person's intentions with this connection? We've got the 7 of Wands. Now that's a very interesting depiction of the 7 of Wands, because the 7 of Wands typically talks about defending something. So it comes after the 6 of Wands, which is a card of victory. And so it's like when you gain possession of something, or when you acquire something, or when you succeed in a respect, you know, you want to put up your defenses so that you can maintain that. But this doesn't look like a very defensive energy at all, you know? It's like meeting up and having a good time. It's even like 7 o'clock on the clock, which I never actually looked at. Ooh, we've got the Ace of Swords and the 6 of Pentacles. Okay. Now, this is an interesting Ace of Swords. We always look at the Ace of Swords as like new communication and also like, you know, revealing truth. This one, you know, it's cutting across this blue rose, and there's like blood on the rapier, but there's also sunflowers and whatever those cards are. And oh, that's interesting, because it looks like this represents flowers, or like flora throughout the different seasons. Like you might have winter here where the stalks are like, you know, they're barren. And then spring here with, they kind of look like cherry blossoms, and then sunflowers in the summer and maple leaves in the fall. Huh. So I think that there's some kind of communication that they want to provide you with. And I think with this being kind of like cyclical, you know, the seasons, long-term thinking, and with this being the Six of Pentacles, which represents equal give and take, I think this could be potentially they intend to have a discussion about kind of, I guess, about their intentions. You know, I think they want to have a communication with you about what you want and what they want. What is this 7 about, though? We've got the 3 of Cups in reverse. I want to get a little bit more information on that because that's interesting. The 3 of Cups typically represents like celebration, just kind of going out and having a good time. Some people can look at it too as like third party energy. This makes me think of here with Beauty and the Beast, the 3 girls or whatever that are like in love with Gaston. The triplets. Okay, can you further clarify the 7 of Wands upright with the 3 of Cups in reverse? We've got the 9 of Cups in reverse. We've got the 7 of Cups upright, which, okay. The 6 of Wands upright, and the Page of Coins. So we're just going to separate those a little bit. Okay, so I feel like what this is trying to express is that this person may be somebody who is seen as kind of a player or somebody who has a lot of options. And the Cupid is kind of a flirty energy, so I could certainly see that. But I think that they kind of want to defend this position of like, they're not playing the field. I don't think that they're seeing anybody else. We've got the 7 of Cups here, which does talk about options, and then the 6 of Wands with the Page of Pentacles. Now, the Page of Pentacles is kind of like it's a naive energy. It's kind of like representative of the Fool, but in more of an established respect. Like the Fool might just kind of take off on a journey and not really have an understanding of the direction that he or she wants to go in. But when you're looking at pages, I feel like that represents they do have a goal or a pull to a certain aspect, and with it being the Page of Coins, what it seems like to me is that they could see a lot of potential in this connection. They're just not entirely sure, like, in what way. You know, like, would you guys be good as long-term lovers? Would you be, I just saw 2828, good as, you know, short-term lovers? Would you be better as friends? And so I think what it is they do want that security of kind of trusting their own understanding of the possibilities between the two of you before they make a commitment. Because, like, obviously here we see we talked about the Queen of Wands, but clarified by the the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So they don't have any, like, interest in making a commitment right now, but I think they do want to assess a situation before they make a decision. Because I think there is an interest in making some sort of commitment, but they're not the type of person who, even though they have this kind of like flirtatious energy about them, they're not going to be the type of person who just jumps into a relationship because they want a relationship, or because they're attracted to the person, or because they have a good time with the person. I think they want to assess all of the possibilities. And I think with this Ace of Swords and this Six of Pentacles, their intention is to kind of clarify that, you know, that maybe they're not ready to make a very strong commitment right now. But they do want to invest in you. It just might be as friends for the time being. Let's get a little bit more clarity on it. The Ace of Swords, please. Okay, yeah, we've got the Knight. Wait, no. Excuse me, the Page. Yeah. Right, we're doing, these are pages, yeah. The Page of Wands in reverse. Okay, yep. So this is not a fuck boy or fuck girl, which is great. And honestly, all three piles have shown that those of you who are identifying with this, like this reading, the overall piles, the people that you're interested in do have a certain level of maturity and a certain level of consideration for others, which I think is great. So this is not somebody who's coming in to like just to bone. They're not somebody who's coming in to necessarily even romance you right away. Like, they're not gonna love bomb you. What's with this Six of Pentacles? It's interesting. I mean, it makes sense, but this Six of Pentacles here is represented by, it looks like a gentleman who is doing portraits. So he makes one of the woman, and she seems like she's enjoyed it, you know? It's this kind of service. And I like how we have this statue up here that looks like, you know, it's very, it's a flattering picture, and it's really a positive portrayal of someone artistically. So what's this Six of Pentacles about? Okay. The Magician in reverse. So this person wants to come forward. They want to have a good time with you, and their intention is that they're going to come to you honestly. Like, they're not going to be heavily romancing you. They're not going to be making any strong commitments to you, but they definitely want to see like what the two of you two can offer without things changing right away. Like, just in your day-to-day interactions, if you go out as friends, like what the two of you offer to each other. You know, do you have a lot in common, or are the both of you like mentally stimulating to each other? Do you enjoy the same activities? What level of reciprocity is there? So I think that's beautiful. And then we do have the Lovers card here to represent that. So what I do think is that this person is looking for their true counterpart. You know, they're not someone who is content with, I think, superficial relationships. I mean, they might, I saw 33. They might respect that relationships have their purposes, and that not everyone that comes into our life is meant to be in our life for the long run, but their goal is to find their divine counterpart. And it could also mean too that this connection has a sort of spiritual significance to it, that whether or not the two of you come together in union and are life partners or whatever, that there is something you two can learn from each other. We're going to look to see what the universe has to say about this connection. So this has probably been the happiest outcome so far with the others. Like, the other readings weren't bad. It's just the other person wasn't going to do anything, which was kind of disheartening, but sometimes that's just how it goes. So we'll see what the universe has to say about this connection. And remember, like, you know your situation better than I do. I'm just here to talk, and hopefully there is something that you can harvest from the conversation that will benefit you. Okay, so the chaser in reverse is the chaser in codependent relationship, fear of abandonment issue. So overall, I do feel that this is very likely a healthier connection. It doesn't seem like there's going to be a runner-chaser dynamic, but also, like, don't chase this person. And this person with both the attraction card and the faith card, they're not going to be a chaser, okay? They trust that things are going to come to them. And I don't think this person is necessarily attracted to people who chase them. They're not somebody who really wants a person to dote on them or pursue them. They're not playing hard to get. I think that they're just looking for something that is genuine. And at the end of the day, like, just be yourself. And this person probably will be the one who's more dominant. They're likely going to be the one who invites you out. Although, like, if you invited them out, I think, you know, I don't think they would be adverse to that. It wouldn't be like I'm the dominant one and I don't accept invitations from someone else. But I think they would be as receptive to it as they would be with anything else. But they're also probably going to be the one who, like, establishes if a connection is official. What else does the universe have to say about this connection? Trust. The situation is calling for you to have faith, but it was in reverse. Which is interesting because we have faith right up here. Why? Why? Why do we have that trust card in reverse? Worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. So it could be that the universe says that you may be having a lack of faith in this connection, but the universe is encouraging you to trust. Either way, I feel like the message regarding this is that nothing can be forced here. I'm going to see if tarot will kind of offer any insight into this, into the trust in reverse. Okay, so we have the Queen of Swords with Justice. Okay, okay. That makes a little bit more sense. What I will say is this person is not somebody who is going to go against their intuition. If they don't feel that a move is right, then they are going to wait. This is somebody who has a very high tolerance for patience. And I think with this Queen of Swords and this Justice card right here, I think this is also encouraging you just to follow your intuition. You know, if you get that nudge that now is not the right time for it, just listen to that nudge. But yeah, I definitely, and I feel like this person isn't someone who necessarily relies on like trust that things will get better or trust that things will work out. Like there's someone who takes something kind of at face value, you know. And then one more card. We're getting this from the Romeo and Juliet Tarot, well, Romeo and Juliet Oracle, excuse me, which Romeo and Juliet are not a couple to model yourself or your relationships after, but it can provide some very good lessons, which is why we have tragedies, which is what Romeo and Juliet is. Ooh, Capulet. Ooh. Fatherly love, controlling or dogmatism. My child is yet a stranger in the world. Act 1, Scene 2. So, it's interesting that we have a father here and a father there. A father figure could be affecting this person, whether around this situation or if they had, like they may be kind of modeling their choices after their father figure. So if their father figure was like kind of a playboy or whatever, there's someone who's dialing that back. Or if their father figure was somebody who was like easily manipulated, then they're trying to be more logical about that. If their father figure was absent, then I think they want to make sure that they are making the right decisions so that they don't put another person at risk for that, you know. Because maybe they saw how it affected their mother, you know, and they never want to put someone through that. Maybe they saw how it affected children, and I think this person is definitely someone who wants children, and so they may be trying to be responsible about that. Let's see what advice the universe has for you. The two. So we have 1111, the High Priestess. I would say that the universe is recommending not to dwell on it too much. Don't try to pick apart things. So like if you're watching a lot of these, you might want to dial back on watching pick a card readings. The Five of Wands in reverse. Set down your arms, like, you know, the Five of Wands to me represents like physical altercations, like physical combativeness, and that's not necessarily in a violent way, but for instance, if you're constantly trying to insert yourself into this person's life, dial back on that. Like if you work with them, you don't have to find reasons to talk to them, okay? That could be really stalling any progress in this connection or even in your own life. You know, if maybe there is another path you're supposed to take by pursuing this person, you know, you're really blocking that opportunity, or else it could be that maybe your energy is so overbearing by constantly interacting with this person that it may not be giving them space to really assess the situation. And then the Fool in reverse. I would say don't make any impulsive decisions. But why do we have the Fool in reverse here? Because that's talking about not starting something new. You know, kind of sticking with the same trajectory that you've been going. Oh my gosh. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. The Three of Pentacles. And then we have the Page of Cups in reverse. And the Tower in reverse. So don't start anything new. So with the Four of Cups in reverse, it's kind of like emotional release. You know, you're kind of letting go of this obsessive hold you have on this situation, which allows, with this Three of Pentacles, more of a cooperative effort. But what's with this Page of Cups in reverse and the Tower? Page of Cups, the Ten of Wands in reverse, and then the Tower in reverse is the Ten of Swords in reverse with the Hanged Man in reverse. So the Ten of Swords and Ten of Wands, both in reverse, we do see the release of stress, the release of a burden. But how does it apply here? So you can cooperation. This could be talking about with the Ten of Wands in reverse and the Page of Cups in reverse, releasing the burden of not having an emotional investment. And that could be releasing the burden on their end or releasing the burden on your end, like not receiving that. And the Ten of Swords in reverse. It's kind of like not changing a perspective. And avoiding a Tower moment. We've got Judgment in reverse with the with the Knight of Wands in reverse. There's definitely something talking here about not seeing things correctly or not looking at them from a different perspective, but that's also that's preventing them from... What is this Tower moment? What does this Tower moment revolve around? Like, it's in reverse, but... It's the Two of Wands in reverse. So it'd be like the be like preventing union would also prevent this catastrophic change. There might be a fear. Oh. There might be a fear of like the relationship changing, because I think this person does value you. Because if we have the Judgment in reverse, which can talk about ill-conceived ideas, and then the okay, I think I get it. Well, this one is taking a lot longer than the other ones. It was a little bit of a hot mess, but I think, like, you know, don't try to look too deeply into it. You know, don't focus so much on what's happening, what's going to happen, why is it happening. Be a little less persistent in your attentions. If you are trying to insert yourself into this person's life a lot. And then, but don't necessarily move on, because I think this person just needs time to kind of suss out the situation. They may need time to kind of adjust. Because if you push too much, they don't have the space to assess for themselves and make what they view as a qualified decision. But if you walk away, then that kind of removes the choice from them. So I think it's just, you just need to be patient. Give this person some time. Okay, so this is probably like the best outcome for everyone in terms of like unification. I mean, none of the three were like terrible. It's just the other two were really like focus on yourself and don't even, you know, they're like, it wasn't quite move on from the connection, but like don't entertain the connection right now. So group 3, if you found this reading useful, please let me know how it resonated in the comment section down below. If you haven't yet but would like to subscribe to the channel, do so and hit the notification bell. And if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, if you're interested in a personal reading, you can contact me with my my email is down in the description box below. Bye.